G'day, Tigers. Thanks for the comment. This is a really great question, so happy to cover it off. I already own a property. Can I open a family trust and transfer that property into that? Now, you can, but the big question is, should you do it? We've got to realize that property is something that is very highly taxed in this country. So, for example, anytime we do a property transaction, we are going to pay stamp duty, typically around about 4% of the value of that transaction. And there's also going to be legal fees and other fees associated with that. Now, in order for you to transfer that property into the family trust, that will require you to essentially sell it to your family trust. And also you will require to pay stamp duty and other legal costs on that transaction. So you could probably estimate about 5% of the value of that property. Now, you need to do the numbers yourself or get some specific tax advice and financial advice to then determine, well, what is the cost benefit associated with doing that? What's the cost benefit of holding it the way that I do? If I have that property in my own name, I receive all of the income in the future. If I sell that property, I'm going to have to assume all of the capital gains and then work out the benefits associated with paying the extra cost of moving it to a family trust and the potential benefits of funneling both income and future capital gains to other lower tax beneficiaries. So to give you like a high level example, of course, this is not advice, but just to give you a little bit of a case study, let's assume that you're on the top marginal tax rate, you're earning over 200 grand a year, and you've got an investment property that's positively geared. Now, for any money that you receive from that investment property, you're going to be paying about 46% tax. Then if you sell that property, you get a capital gains tax discount, and that's going to get added to your assessable income. So you're going to lose about 25% of the gain that you make on that particular property. So let's say you bought it for $1 million. In 10 years' time, you sell it for $2 million. You've got $1 million gain. You're going to be paying about $250,000 in tax. Now, let's assume that in a family trust, you've got a spouse who isn't working, who's stay at home, takes care of the kids, and you have the ability as a result of funneling income to them and utilizing their lower tax rate in order to get more of the money that you're getting from that investment property. That's a potential win. It's a matter of working out, okay, well, based on the stamp duty cost, let's assume that it's 40 grand. How many years would it take me in tax savings in order to recoup that 40 grand that I've spent? And then future, if I sold that property in 10 years' time and that same situation, how much extra tax would I save by distributing it to my lower income spouse? Now, the big consideration here is that those incomes might change. Like what happens if your spouse goes back to work? What happens if there's other changes? What happens if you have to sell the property earlier or later? There's lots of different variables. So all we need to do is make our best and most educated guess, considering all of the costs and the potential benefits, and then using that as a kind of risk-return trade-off in order to work out whether or not we do it. There are very few of my clients who do transfer property into family trust once they've already purchased it. Typically, they set up that structure and will utilize that to buy any future property. Once again, it's best to get advice because this will depend on your particular situation. If you've got any other questions, hit me up in the comments.